Good afternoon, viewers. This is Rajgor, and welcome you to Motorindia's Trans Report. Today with me is Mr. Aahan Sethi, who is Director Gemini Power Hydraulics Private Limited. Welcome, Aahan. Welcome to Motorindia's Trans Report.
Thank you. Thank you for having me over here.
Aahan, we have been talking about the lifting and material handling equipment space and the scope of this industry. We all acknowledge as industry stakeholders that this industry has a major role to play as India looks to up its ante in the infrastructure and construction segment with pertaining to the special lifting equipment space. It includes, heavy lifting tools, scissor lifts, and various aerial work platforms. And Gemini Power Hydraulics Private Limited has been into this business of producing these technologically advanced, high quality products for over 2 decades. So to start with, could you please give us an overview of the products and target application areas for Gemini in broad sense for the Indian market?
Absolutely. So, firstly, like I said, thank you for having me on the show. It gives me a great privilege to talk about our company and what we will be looking to do over here as a business going forward. So, like you rightly said, this was started by my father back in 1988. And we actually started off as a simple service provider and in a completely different market space where we were looking after hydraulic equipments. And then as obviously the years progressed, our business expanded. And today we stand at a company which has got four different business verticals. Distribution, which is our original one of hydraulics, is still a big part of our business, but we've expanded our business portfolio into the aerial access as well. So the aerial access division started in about 2008, I would say, was when we partnered up with a company called Holot from France. And we still are their exclusive dealer for India. So it's a good 12-year strong, long relationship that we have with them. Even though it took us some time to get our first sale, we still, we have a very strong relationship and we have a year-on-year growth. Of course, this year being slightly different.
Sure.
So our primary work into aerial access basically started off as a branch of our company's motive of and mission and vision, which was to provide technologically beneficial solutions to customers and just improving the overall well-being and quality of work which is being done. There was lots of gaps in the market, especially for aerial access, where people were using quite old school and outdated or primitive technology, whether it was in the form of mechanical equipments or equipment which did not have much safety. So the first couple of years of that, we really spent in educating the customer as to why moving into a more mechanized version is better, not only from a price and investment point, but also safety point of perspective. So that's where we spend a lot of our time in the first couple of years. And I think that, we're reaping the benefits of it only now, where the market has really opened up, not just to us, but, our competitors, big rental players, small rental players, big MNCs, FMCGs companies. The applications for it are limitless. So even today, I would say India is probably using the application of these machines at about 5 or 10% of what they're actually capable of. There is a lot of the market which is yet to be uncovered, a lot of education that is yet to be provided, but I can confidently say that we are at a very good point in terms of where henceforth on it's just going to be growth.
Got it.
Whereas it comes to chassis mounted applications, or whereas it comes to industry applications, I think that's a branch of aerial access, because aerial access being self driven or self powered units, it
Yeah.
was only but natural to develop more mobile units, and that was in the form of chassis. India, as you know, is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, manufacturers of trucks and LCVs, ICVs in the world. We have a very strong network and base. Your Tatas, Ashok Leylands, Eichers, successfully not only in India but also in other countries in the world. So we wanted to basically leverage that opportunity of using their R&D, their network, and their sort of product, and build up on something like that. And that's when our, let's say, chassis mounted applications came to life in about 2014, 2015.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's where it gave birth. And 6 years strong, we've got over 100 plus machines in the market. We've also introduced some industry first applications into the country. Even though some of the technology may have existed, but we've put a Gemini twist to it, as I say.
Right.
And
Right.
currently, we are serving customers, and not only just providing them end-to-end solutions, but also taking care of them from the service, after sales, AMC, CMC. So it's a complete overall package is what we're offering the customers.
Sure, sure. So this was, kind of an overview, but in the aerial work platforms, and which was
Right.
particularly one division of what Gemini Power Hydraulics does. So what are the other three
That's right.
divisions that you were mentioning earlier?
Right. So the other divisions are more to do with. So in a way, we are targeting OEMs only. So one of our biggest silos of business is the distribution business, where we are partners of very reputed companies from the world, and we represent that technology here in India. So one of them, for example, is a company called Pascal, which is from Japan.
Yeah.
They make really great equipment, which invariably ends up going to the automobile industry. So they have extremely good applications specially developed for automobile ancillary companies, companies that are heavily invest. So it's almost like a cyclical process where we are helping automobile companies by giving them solutions for my industrial products, but then also using their products to develop our chassis mounted platforms. Another
Got
one
it.
of our departments happens to be oil and gas,
Hmm.
where we work in a refined petrochemical space, where we give a complete end-to-end solution for shutdown and turnaround services. Where right from we have specialized manpower and equipment to from cutting, crimping, torque tightening, tensioning, things like bundle pulling and bundle extraction. Again, very specific niche jobs. We started off by just doing simple torquing, tensioning, and now we do a complete shutdown turnaround services of the entire yard, or the
Got it.
entire
Hmm.
refinery, shall I say. So our business is from that. And lastly we're looking at manufacturing, which is something which we have just started about this year. Again, it's a branch of our distribution, but yeah, so they're all interconnected to each other somehow.
Sure. So these are the divisions that you have in place at Gemini. But what are these segments that you cater to, and how has commercial vehicles played a role in kind of uplifting your reach and penetration into these segments, or say kind of enhance the quality of the tooling that you are known for or you're providing?
So I think, like I said, I think where it applies maximum is in our aerial access department, where I feel that we are developing a lot of solutions specifically based for chassis. I think there has been a big transition in what chassis used to be and what they are now, and the
Correct.
technologies that come with it. I think starting off, obviously, I'm not going into BS4, BS6. That, of course, is a
Sure.
much that's a well-known fact that BS6, obviously, in terms of emissions, is much better. But I just think in general, the way chassis are designed in India, the power outputs, the efficiencies, the torques, the GVWs that people are sort of getting for different base of chassis is really helping us maximize the development that we can potentially make on a chassis. So, for example, I take the Tata Ace, such a versatile chassis. It's known as the Chota Hati for a reason. It's capable of doing so many different applications and so many different things. So people are developing everything from dumpers to food trucks to a lot of different solutions. So we also thought that why can't we develop an aerial access platform? It's something which was not thought of because obviously in aerial access it requires you to balance certain things like center of gravity and
True.
stability and etc. And people were like, how can you do it on such a small chassis? Uh, I think that's where our engineering expertise comes in, but that is also greatly coupled with the fact that we have such a great platform like the Tata Ace, which is now the Intra, to really for us to leverage and showcase the capabilities of these chassis.
Sure.
I think one of our objectives as an organization is to try and showcase as many different and versatile applications as we can, even though the process may be to lift a person from point A to point B. But there are numerous different ways you can do it. You can either have a mobile scissor, you can have an articulated machine, a telescopic machine. So there are various different applications one can use, but the common factor in that remains is the chassis. And because these chassis are so sturdy and so well developed and have the capability, it really opens our mindset and our product possibilities to develop applications on it.
Correct. And speaking about application, what are the kind of demands that you get from the Indian industries, and how do you then customize it with their needs? For example, railways may have a different demand than what the hospitality industry needs, or something like a metro or a bridge building may have a different demand. So do you have demand specific manufacturing strength, or do you have a catalog of products that you say, okay, we are specialized in this and we can deliver this? So could you elaborate on the demand and your product, and then so that we understand what are your capabilities, like what have you done in the past and what are you working on currently with respect to these sectors as well as the product application?
Okay, so as a company, over our last 30 years of business, we have obviously worked on numerous different applications and numerous different industries. Like I said, our aerial access division is a result of us wanting to fulfill the customers' requirements. So, for example, when you spoke about railways, even in the railways, we predominantly focused on selling hydraulic jacks for lifting purposes. Now, whether it is for lifting of the actual train or the track or the girder, etc.
True.
Then we also realized that in the railways, one of the very big important part was the overline, the catenary line that that is present. So the maintenance of that, the installation of that, so that obviously requires you to have specialized equipment to reach that. So our idea stemmed from the fact that, okay, we are already in the railways, we are providing solutions. Why can't we look at expanding our portfolio within that? Similarly, when it came to let's say metros or metro construction, again, a lot of our jacks were being used during the building phases where you require heavy lifting of these, like these girders or these columns or sections. Uh, then our scissor lifts were being used for maintenance or painting or for whatever else.
True.
Now, aerial access is required also for the building part of it, where people need to go and do, girder inspection. They need to do at bearing inspection. So, in order to facilitate the consumer or the customer to go and reach that, and to increase that, because now, as you see, the metro lines are very long. To be able
Yeah.
to not only build them quickly but also inspect them quickly in a manner so that we reduce the turnaround time of the customer. So we wanted to take all those factors into consideration, and that's how we started developing applications to help them in that market. Another simple application I would say is in a warehousing space,
Mhm.
where earlier people used to use a ladder and then manually sort out the different bins or the different baskets inside. Anyway, they are moving technologically forward in terms of managing inventory and pipeline and delivery. So why can't they move forward technologically in terms of managing their inventory from a physical point of perspective as well? And not only that, I think a very important thing that people also realized was that the entire logistics setup would also depend on how, let's say, clean the uh, area is as well. So facility maintenance and management is also where we came into. It's like a saying, like if you walk in, how well somebody's, if you walk into the house, if you find a dirty house, you know that it's something not very well taken care of, and
Sure. Sure.
that it won't function to its complete operational efficiency. But the moment you find something is completely clean, they know that it's very well taken care of and looked after. So that's a good reflection of your personal self and business as well. um, as for catalog products versus customized solution, yes, we predominantly have a catalog list of products, but the product portfolio is so wide that it could cater to every application that the customer asks. However, I'm also proud to say that we do give specialized applications based on the customer's requirements as well. We have no problems in catering to that, whether it is something very small, which is like, okay, they need a couple of additional accessories, or something which is extremely large scale is when they require like major modification or something. Anything and everything is possible. uh, and it again, it depends on, the flexibility of the customer as well. But yes, we're happy to provide tailor-made solutions as well.
Got it. Got it. So, given that context, and given that we also, kind of are uh, more interested in, say, the commercial vehicle products, as in the truck or the small commercial vehicles that are used for these applications, how much has the dip in the economy currently, or the dip in the sales of commercial vehicle segment in particular, impacted your sales? Or say, what are your products that you see picking up pace in the next couple of years, irrespective of whether you use a small commercial vehicle or a truck?
So honestly, to answer that point, I think I would say it's had a good effect and a bad effect also.
Okay.
The
Okay.
bad effect is obviously business slowed down.
Hmm.
We were, as always, sales were a little difficult, challenging for whatever reason. People were not buying, lockdown, cash flow issues, etc., etc. So that's the bad which goes with it. I think one of the good things that has happened, particularly in this period and during this year of time, is that there was a lot of confusion between the transition from BS4 to BS6.
True.
Registration and chassis changing and etc., etc. So I really feel that this sort of time out that we had from business really helped us refine our internal R&D to tailor make to the new chassis requirements. Even though there has been not much change in terms of the chassis layout, they obviously, all chassis now come with a catalytic converter, and so all those components have been added. So this real timeout gave us an opportunity to, let's say, change our application mounting a little bit, so
True.
that it could be tailor made for PS6 applications, so that when the market like today is opening up, we don't have to spend that additional R&D to make those changes, and that extra time to deliver the final unit to the customer. We are now at a position where we understand everything. We've done our homework, we've done our research, and we're ready to go to the market with solutions. Um, I think another thing that has happened very nicely with the change into BS6 chassis, along with the emissions, I think the new range of chassis again are very enticing to us because of the new specifications that have come into place, and the new product portfolios. A lot of companies have launched brand new products, like Ashok
True.
Leyland launched the Bada Dost,
Yeah.
and Tata with the Intra, and etc., etc. That opens up the possibilities for us to give the customers also wider range of options to choose from. So I would say, I mean, yes, there was a dip in terms of sales, but there was a huge rise in terms of R&D possibilities for us moving into different configurations, modular designs, so that we can serve the customer and their requirement better.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's what has really facilitated. So I can only see this trend going upwards from now.
Got it.
And like I said, another thing that was really clarified was there was a lot of confusion around registration and type
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
forms required, etc. People still want to register their BS4 chassis, and so I think this little period that we got, all that dust has settled, and now business can resume back to normal, and it can only pick up henceforth.
Very nice. So, you spoke about design, you spoke about R&D. So, at this point, let us also touch upon your manufacturing strength, your facilities. How have you honed the capacity, in terms of what you have got in store? I mean, during the slowdown, you worked on your research and development. You have, polished your manufacturing assets and tools. Speak about what do you do in terms of delivering a quality product that the client demand, in terms of, say, uh, cost efficiency, price factor which they look around, and the overall sales and service network that you have. So these 3 points we would want to know more about Gemini Power Hydraulics.
Absolutely. So I think as a company, we spend a lot of our time during the lockdown, sort of almost hitting refresh, and we sort of try to reposition ourselves and reconfigure. So when it talks about R&D, I think we have an absolutely fantastic back end team, and I'm extremely blessed to work with them every single day. Very talented young Indian engineers who are so sharp in their thinking process. So there is not a single solution that I wanted that they could not come up with. Um, so we spent a lot of our time. So what happened was, we had a basket of products and we had a basket of chassis. Now, our R&D time was just basically spent revising the basket of chassis, spent time getting all the information that we needed from this chassis, and then reconfiguring our products on that. So we spent a lot of our time, you know, reevaluating our designs and repurposing it to be ready for BS6. Uh, Along with that also came the challenges for, like you said, servicing and maintenance and things like that. So because we had this time to study and research both theoretically and practically, we called in our entire sales team to retrain them again on how to have conversations with respect to BS6 versus BS4 chassis, right from everything. So the sale of a product, the changes, the registration, every small detail, even the dimension changes, etc., etc., is what we've looked at. Following which, for our service team, we spend a lot of our time training them hands-on, virtually, and of course physically on the unit as well, of the different type of changes that are made, so that whatever challenges that come forward from the customer are, they are ready to answer them. And we don't have any problems. So we really spend a lot of our time getting market ready so that we can amp up our processes or our sales once the market opens. Again, we because we had a change of chassis and change of product portfolios, things that had to be changed were designs and small drawings and small things here and there, but they go a long way in convincing the customer, helping them understand the true difference. Because suddenly shifting from BS4 to BS6, people will assume things are the same, but they're not. There are a lot of small changes here and there that could go a long way. Prices have increased, so there's a lot. Your negotiation has to be a lot more sensitive and a lot better handled. So
Correct.
there are a lot of factors that you need to consider while. So that's where we spent a lot of our lockdown period, sort of working hand in hand with what was going to come into the market and develop those solutions.
And what about the manufacturing capacity? Where are you located, and how much is the capacity per annum
Right.
that
So
you?
currently, our manufacturing facility is set up outside Mumbai in a place called Kalamboli.
Mhm.
It's more of assembling yard
Okay.
slash a manufacturing facility, because we rely a lot on our trusty vendors to work in parallel with us for development of our products. As we speak, of course, this year there was a slight dip in our plans, but I think we are planning for much bigger and better facility next year, and we've shortlisted a couple of places. So it's just about finalizing where we're going to move and develop or develop our platforms after this. But currently in our space, it's a huge 30,000 plus square feet area where we have the manufacturing and the assembling and the service center as well. And we and like I said, during this time, I also forgot to mention is that since we work with a lot of foreign collaborators, since they could not travel, we spent a lot of time on virtual sessions, getting trained and retrained, so that no matter what application problem that comes, whether it is a small service request or whether it's something to do with our manufacturing process, we are completely up to date with the technologies, and the know-how of how to be able to handle and deal with these situations as well.
Mhm. So in fact, I wanted to touch upon your partnership, your collaboration with the foreign players. You mentioned in the beginning about the France partner Holland, right? In the beginning. So what,
Yes.
yeah, what are these partners that you work with, and what are these areas? We are into hydraulics, cranes, or chains, or pulleys. How much, and despite this, how much is few of all of this is localized in India? And what is your localization content, and to make it more cost effective, because here the customers are price sensitive and you have to cater to the Indian market. So how does this entire game of collaborating with these foreign partners as well as delivering a very competent product, competitive product in the Indian market, how do you balance this, and which are these partners that you work with?
Right. So one of the reasons why we choose to work with certain partners from the world over is because we as a company completely have safety as our backbone of our organization. We are completely safety conscious, and we want to bring the best of technologies to the country no matter the price. Sometimes there is a trade-off of technology versus price. And I think when we started off our this aerial access division, I'm just going to focus on the aerial access
Sure,
rather
sure,
than the other parts, because
sure.
like I said, our portfolio is quite large. um, for the chassis mounted applications, we work with strategic partners. So there's this company in Italy called CTE. They are one of the top three manufacturers in the world for aerial access platforms. So we work with an Italian partner, CTE, and as I mentioned, they are one of the top three manufacturers in the world for aerial access platforms. And they do about 2,000 plus units every year, only growing more and more. And they have a very big sales network all the way from Brazil to Australia, North America, and even a strong presence in Asia as well, and the Far East. So we decided to get them on board to distribute, utilize the Indian platform that we had, which is the strong chassis base, bring in good European technology and solutions, and sort of mate them and provide a solution to the market. Now, the reason why we decided not to completely localize it at first and jump into the manufacturing venture is because we wanted to understand the entire process from right from distribution to the mounting capability to the service part of it. And I think as the years progressed, our business models kept on changing, where we our partnership only grew stronger and stronger to a point where we are now working in partnership with them to localize these products in India. And currently, as we speak, our manufacturing silo of business is a result of this continuous effort and partnership that we've had with these organizations like these to bring European technology based solutions in the Indian market at Indian prices. And that's where we currently are at right now.
So the CTE is one among the many companies that you have, right? There are many tie-ups that you have with the other
That's right.
companies, right? Okay. So what are
That's right.
the products that you would want to focus going forward, especially in the aerial work platforms and the chassis mounted application, in the next couple of years? What do you see could be your path breaking products in the next couple of years that in the aerial work platform segment?
So I think in the aerial work platform segment, I think it's a very, very young and nascent market. So I think our aim for the immediate future will probably be just to be focused on developing this market as a whole, because like I said, India is still transitioning from a very mechanical system of using ladders and simple pulley systems to aerial access. So I think we want to standardize the use of aerial access platforms for all applications that require you to work at a height. So I think the aim and objective first for the next couple of years will be to do that. For the and I think the next market to begin that is our offerings in terms of heights and types of products. Currently, the Indian market is very focused on certain height segments only for aerial access platforms. But I think as the knowledge about this business grows, more will the opportunities of this grow. So more the height will increase. Anything between 10 to 30 meters is the range. But there is an entire different group of products that go from 30 all the way to 130 meters of range. So I think the next couple of years will be focused developing on that. And like I said, utilizing the beautiful chassis platform and ecosystem we have in our country. So just getting the perfect balance between both of them is where we see our company progressing and going forward. Maybe looking at a couple more partners, strategic relationships, enhancing our products, giving more offerings to the customers, being more price competitive. expanding our application base, because like I said again, the chassis mounted applications are still very limited to infrastructure projects, bridges and monorails and facade maintenance and airports. But we are probably looking at expanding into many different platforms, maybe fire, maybe insulated platforms. You look at restoration and maintenance, heritage site maintenance. So expanding the complete, maybe a search and rescue, so a complete diversity of applications as well.
Where do you rate yourself currently in the industry, and especially in the aerial work platform segment right now? And what has been the path that you have chosen to get where you are in the industry? Of course, I got your broader sense where you want to be, but just give us an overview or a kind of a background about why aerial work platforms is the chosen path for Gemini Power Hydraulics in the next couple of years, and uh, what will this lead to you know, in the near future. Of course, you will continue to focus on the various other segments, but as I
Right.
see you more enthusiastic and gung ho about this segment. So, what is it the kick that Gemini Power Hydraulics sees in the aerial work platforms?
It's a good question. I think the short answer for that is because it's it's my passion to want to grow it. But of course, I do have a much longer answer for that. No, I think it's something that I am very passionate about. It's something that I want to see grow.
Right.
Um, for why we have chosen this is, like I said, the options and availability of technology in the country is almost limitless. We have the best of engineers, and we have modeled everything from needles to spacecrafts. So what is a simple hydraulic aerial platform like? And I also believe that the application scope of it is something which is only going to grow exponentially. It is not something which is going to grow, I would say, small. It, because of the great foundation we have with really great automobile manufacturers, leveraging their partnerships and relationships, leveraging their technologies and their chassis to just provide the best possible solution to the customer, is something that really excites us, and it's something that really keeps us driven every day. It's what gets me up in the morning. And I feel like they have a very good network from which we can already capitalize and leverage on, not just in India, but their stronghold in the Southeast Asian, not sorry, the SAARC countries. Especially Tata with their relationship with countries in Africa and certain other parts. So it was already a good stepping stone, not only to capitalize on the Indian market, because they have a very established sales and service network. And as their sales and service network is so expansive, uh, our product reachability increases tenfold. If I was a single manufacturer of a single unit based somewhere out here in Bombay, my reachability is probably 1% of what Tata is, having a sales and service network, not only of chassis available, but there's the service products of that available in small cities, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, all the way to northeast of India. And likewise leverage that opportunity for their relationships that they have in Africa and Sri Lanka and other places where they have good dealer networks as well. I'm sure and I know that OEMs like Tata, Ashok Leyland are always hungry for different chassis based applications, always different, always interested in different solutions that they can showcase as their versatility of that. The more versatile the chassis is, the better for them. And so we want to add to that product portfolio as well. As for what is the foundation of this business and for us going forward, I think service has always been our biggest strength. I think safety and service, if I have to say, safety is because we are big believers, and it's embedded in each and every one of our employees, and our mission and vision is that safety is the backbone of everything that we do. Because at the end of the day, it's a person's life that you are putting in someone else's hand when they go up and operate a machine. Whereas when it comes to a service, I think as we started off as a service company, 30 years ago to where we are right now, service always and will still continues to be remain the backbone of our business. And we've spent a lot of our year on year growth and revenue reinvesting back in the company to increase in our manpower, service distribution, and making sure that no matter where the customer is, whether it is a small village in Maharashtra and Akola, or whether he is in Agartala, or whether he is down south in in a very small village in Tamil Nadu or Kerala, we are able to cater and serve them because of our expansive. So we really look up to our Indian OEM manufacturers, and there's a lot to learn from them. Yes, products are world class, but the whole infrastructure that they have built behind is something that we aspire to, and we want to give that to the Indian customers. As per when it comes to technology, we are extremely driven to provide these great solutions to the Indian customers, keeping in mind all the various factors that an Indian consumer looks: availability, service, pricing. So there's a great balance between technology and pricing. Again, we've learned a lot from. Uh, let's step aside from chassis manufacturers, but like car OEMs like a Mercedes. They are tailor-made Mercedes-Benz cars which are for the Indian roads. Where that is the functions are more on the passenger seat than the driver seat, because we have less self-driven cars here and more chauffeur-driven cars.
Yeah.
Whereas in Europe it would be the complete opposite. So we're looking to get those technologies, which is the same sort of comfort, luxury, safety, but tweaking it for the Indian market.
Got it. Got it. So with the kind of the expertise and the knowledge that you acquired for the last 2 decades, I would be interested also to know who are the clients that you work with currently, and how are the contract or the acquisition of business process like for example, do you work as a contractor where you will have certain orders in pipeline so that you can plan your manufacturing shop floor accordingly, or how are these contracts? How early do you get to know? Is it from design to delivery? How much time does it take, and at what level do these companies involve you so that you get you are in sync with what they actually need? So who are these clients and how do you work? What is the entire process?
So, great question. So, our clients range right from your big MNCs and your big, private and public organizations. So, right, Reliances, Tatas, L&Ts, then your power segments, Vedanta Power, all your different state and national level electrical board companies. That's one big part of it. We also work at, we heavily work with like airports, facility management companies. We work with really big real estate companies, your Lodhas and your embassies of all these IT and of course IT and infrastructure parks. We work with the MMRDAs for
Hmm.
your monorail projects. So all these sort of companies. Another very big clientele for us is rental companies. So that sort of links in with your question about contracting, is that we predominantly focus on selling our solution. We don't rent it out or give it out on contracts. And if somebody approaches us for rentals or contracts, we usually pass it on with one of our partners who then purchases the equipment from us, but then they do the contracting work because that's their line of business. So we are interested in bringing the solution to the customer, whether it is directly via us or indirectly via one of our partners. And I think one of the beauties of this business is we also cater to very small companies as well. If you look at in our manufacturing project, we have a aerial solution for street light maintenance and CCTV cameras. All this contract work is done by very small tier 1, tier 2 city guys who are looking at affordable solutions, yet ones that can help them participate aggressively in government tenders. So we help facilitate their need also by providing them with the solution that can help them achieve their targets and goals by improving operational efficiency and performance while reducing the actual need for the machine to be serviced and repaired. So we always have been a customer centric organization, and we focus our efforts on providing solutions to all the different types of markets and industries. So every day there is a new application I learn about and a new industry that we look to cater to. With the work that has been going on in Bombay, with
Yeah.
the highway which is being built, now the new application we're looking at is tunnel boring applications. So maintenance of that. Um, some people have a requirement. So we've had the pleasure and the experience of working right from the top of the chains, like your Reliances and Adanis, to the small tier 1 tier 2 contractors who need to go and repair, like they won a tender for a certain zone in Mumbai to repair street lights and services. So our experience goes right from different, is the complete plethora, or the complete range of products. And the good part about it, there's such a great learning curve. What you learn from the big MNCs to what you learn from the small people, the aches and pains over here to the aches and pains over there. The types of budgets and things like that. So it's a great position to be in when you are, and I think what gives us a great opportunity to facilitate these deals is the support we get from the OEMs. Whenever we say we have developed a chassis, or we've developed a product on a Tata, everyone's like, oh wow, okay, because they already know the reputation that has in the market. So it gives, so the brand, so going synonymous with Tata really upholds our brand reputation also. So yes, we are leveraging off their hard work, but it's a win-win situation for both.
Very nice. Pretty interesting, in terms of process and the way learnings that you get from the overall, business deals. So while you mentioned that, it is very evident that the sales drive the company, the business, but it's also the service that sustains it. And
For us, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I
sure,
would
sure.
say I feel the service drives our business and the sales sustains it.
Wonderful. Okay. Okay. So, given this, the balance, what is the medium to long term plan or goal in terms of product capacity, as well as your growth in terms of revenues? Is it the volumes that you focus on, or is it the margins that you focus more on? Like, it's difficult to balance when you're providing a top notch, a quality product, which is also catered to a specific requirement. So how do you shape or kind of draw a balance between volume or margins? And it's always a challenge. So what is that goal? Is there a number that you have in mind that your company needs to be in next 2 to 3 years? Please share.
So that's the beauty, I would say, of an organization like ours, where we have different silos of business or different verticals working on different aspects of it. So one part of it, one distribution or assembly business, is heavily focused on increasing the turnover. At that point in time, it's just completely revenue driven, where yes, margins are very important, but achieving higher revenue numbers is, I think, much more important. And there comes the second half of the business, which is our manufacturing, where profitability and margins and all is really looked at, and the revenue is gotten as a result. So in a way, we have a diversification of so many products that we look at across the entire platform, and we are like, this is the revenue that we want to achieve year on year, and this is the profitability that we want to achieve year on year.
All right.
So currently, as it stands, we do about we do about 100 cr a year. And with this new manufacturing initiative and this new manufacturing silo that we have gotten, I think, with a couple of strategic partnerships and some shrewd business development, I think we can double, triple it in the coming years. So I'm targeting to 5 years, 1,000 crores. Um, but I'm going to wake up every day working towards that.
So anything special in terms of product category that would lead you towards this goal of yours in the next 5 years? Because of course we spoke about the aerial work platform, which is one segment. But how do you see the growth rate of your products in the years to come? And this, when I say products, it could be several verticals. It could be scissor lift, it could be the jacks that you spoke about. But how do you then balance? Like, you have so many products, but what do you foresee? Of course, you spoke about the aerial work platforms and very highly about the industry. Is there a plan in terms of product application of, and for which you are backed it with manufacturing? So what is that product that you think will take you towards closer to your target?
That's a very good question, and if I could foresee the future and realize that this
Hmm.
would be the right horse to bet on, I would do it right now. Uh,
Yeah.
I think to answer your question, I think one way that we look at it, I you know, is that we bring in
Hmm.
products and technology into the country, which is very niche based application but heavily capital intensive. So that adds to our product portfolio and range. While with our current business, we look at ways to uh, grow it year on year by either increasing our investment into it or working at ways towards localizing it so that we can have a much greater reach and uh, and be at a much more attractive price point so that we have a access to a wider range of customers. So I think I cannot, I mean, say openly in terms of, because it's very difficult for me to put my bet on this one product being what is going to take me from point A to point B. I think it's a lot of different factors that will help me. But so, like I said, localization, cost realization is uh, looking at revamping the sales pitch to customers, whereas they focus more on return on investments as my go-to strategy. And I think just being able to continuously provide these technological solutions backed with great servicing and comprehensive maintenance plans or whatever else is what I feel will help me take it from point A to point B. A lot of it is also dependent on us observing and keeping track of the market as well.
Hmm.
As a lot of the world shifts towards going, fossil free fuel in 2030,
Yeah.
moving towards
Yeah.
battery tech or
True.
electric solutions. So, like I said, maybe in a couple of years down the line, we could have a separate division looking at that as well. So it's just keeping up with the trends and demands in the market, but more importantly, to be able to cater our products on a timely and on a timely manner, and also being able to
Yeah.
service them.
Yeah.
So I think customer satisfaction is something that I will attribute to us growing to where we have to. And I feel like year on year we have grown quite a bit. And like I said, with the manufacturing portfolio and slow localization of our other partners and products, it gives us a lot more control and flexibility and stability.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that in itself would help us increase our not only our sales but wider access to service and etc. So it's a combination of
Combination of all.
various different things. Like I said, it's very
Yeah.
hard for me to pinpoint on a certain group of products because add new products to our catalog, and some of them work, some of them don't. I
True.
would like to think that 80-85% of the products that we have added have worked out or transitioned into something which is very big.
Right.
Um, it's it and and it's not like, we are also slightly picky and choosy with the products that we add because it has to have that sort of scope as well.
Thank you. All the
No
best for
doubt
all
about that.
your plans. I think with the plans that you have, and with the Indian industry now maturing to these equipments and the application oriented the products. Definitely, there is a lot of scope in the material handling equipment space, and there's a lot to offer for each one of us. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Sure.
Yeah,
Take
you
care.
too. Bye bye.
Bye.